This is Kevin Conroy, and I am the goddamn Batman.
Hi, this is Kyle Higgins, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Oh my gosh, this is so great!
Welcome to The Pullbacks Origins Episodes. Join TFG1 Mike as he grills this week's guest on just how they got into reading comics and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy The Pullback.
Hello and welcome to The Pullback. This is yet again another Origins episode. I am your host, TFG1 Mike, and joining me this week is the guys from the Weird Science of DC. That's right, they have an angel on their side. It is Jim and Eric. Hello, guys.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It has been a while since we've done an Origins episode here in the Pullback. September kind of turned into TMNT month for the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going anywhere near that ending of a future.
Yeah.
Hell, no.
You don't like
It's
it,
not
huh?
that bad.
The only one I was interested in because it was her last book in the run, was the Batgirl one.
That was a
The rest of
magnificent.
them,
That was a great issue, man.
the rest of them, I just don't care enough, and I don't care about. And people that have listened to the podcast for the last 2 years know I don't care for the lenticular 3. I think the 3D covers look cool, but as far
It's about time to retire those.
yeah.
Well, they looked good in Villains Month last year, and they're pulling something different out of it this year. It's it's a thing. It's a way to get that extra $1 out of you. Come on.
It's a thing.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
So you didn't read Green Arrow?
Batgirl's it.
Okay.
That's all I could afford at this point. And honestly, I'm not too keen on this whole 5-year jump.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Oh, it's all going to be a race in the end. We all know this. This can't be the future of our heroes.
Yes,
It's a
that's
sweet
true.
little Elseworld story, as I like to think of it.
Yeah. All right, so we've got Jim and Eric here, and normally how I do this is usually it's a one-on-one type of thing, but since there are two of you, one is going to go first, then the other. I'm not going to ask the same question twice, but Jim, why don't you tell the listeners how you got into reading comics as a kid? Was it your parents? Was it your grandparents that just said, here's this comic, go away, you bother me? Or, how did you get into... How did you get into comic reading?
Mainly my parents just ignored me, so there was no giving me anything. But the truth of the matter is I really didn't get into comics until about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and it's the other guy here that actually got me into them.
Oh, yeah, it's my fault.
Yep, it's his fault. Actually, I started working with him about 2.5 years ago, and unfortunately I was hired probably to be his replacement at our work, and I showed up, and we were kind of forced into working together, and within a couple of days we figured out that we were both really into 80s pop culture movies and things, and we have a pretty monotonous job, so he just started talking to me about comics, mainly Green Lantern, which I was not that familiar with, and he just kept going on and on and on and on. And I like to say to him that it was kind of like a Forrest Gump, where he was Bubba, and anybody who walked by would hear Hal Jordan, and then they'd walk by Kyle Rayner, and then Guy Gardner. And because of that, then I heard about the New 52, and started reading it because I'd heard a previous podcast of yours that you had mentioned that getting into comics was a bit of it was intimidating when you'd go in and there were Batman 520 or Spider-Man 600, and I'm a guy. It's not even intimidating to read that many. It was more that I would have to buy everyone. I'm very, very obsessive with that. I just can't afford that, so I kind of stuck away from it. I was very into, say, Batman 66 as a kid, all the reruns. I'm an older fella, so that I did not the original run, but in syndication. I really enjoyed the Super Friends cartoon as a kid. I wasn't really into the Batman '89 movie, though. I really was not that into that. But when the X-Men movies came out, I kind of got into that again. Just watching the movies, tried to pick up some comics. I was lost, didn't know what was going on. But like I said, it eventually led to the New 52, which I know a lot of people don't like it, but it really got me into it just to be able to start new. And since then, I've caught up and gone back and done some research and things like that. But that's about it. It's Eric who's to blame.
Yeah, it's kind of like me and Steve. Steve Megatron, the other co-creator of the Geekcast Radio Network, I grew up watching the DC animated universe. I love that universe, and I love all that stuff, and that's what kind of got me into enjoying the Joker again. And as much as you can enjoy a psychopathic,
that's all Mark
psychopathic mass murderer, but and I had touched comics maybe once or twice as a kid. At 14, 15, right around when X-Men and Spider-Man were on TV for cartoons. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes me want to go out and read comics. I read maybe one or two, but I was never really that. I was more into video games as a kid
actually,
than I was comics.
I'm right with you. That was my big thing.
Yeah. So, Steve went out and said, ooh, Death of the Family. They're going to basically remake they're going to use the old title, switch it around, make it Death of the Family. It's going to be this huge event that goes across all books. It's going to be the best Batman story you ever told, and blah, blah, blah.
It was really good, man.
It was good until the end.
Yeah, the ending was weak.
The ending was very weak.
I was freaking nail biting every month waiting for the new issues to come out.
Yep. All right, Eric, how did you get into comics? Was it a parent, grandparent, any of that stuff?
As far as I know, I'm thinking back, I thought about this a little bit. I've always loved superheroes. I grew up and I was watching the Super Friends. I had all my Kenner Superpowers figures. And, I had, my Robin pajamas, my Superman pajamas. But I never had a Batman, though, which I don't understand. But and I seem to remember always having comics. But the first one I remember, going out of my way to say, I need this, was on a spinner rack at a Gennardi's grocery store. And I called my mom. I was like, Mom. Yeah, that's what she is. She's my mom. I need this issue. And she bought it for me. And it was Web of Spider-Man number 81. And it was a lackluster issue. There's nothing there was a character, it was the villain Bloodshed, who I have never heard of since. And he looked like a cross between Spawn and Bane, just in black and pink. And, but ever since that came out in, I think, 1990, 91, and I was around 8 years old at that point. But I just kept getting comics and watching the DC animated universe when that came out, and the Batman movie when that came out. And I just kept going with it until eventually I got a little bit older and think, I might want to get some pussy at some time, so I better get rid of my comic books. And then eventually that would fall.
And it still didn't
apart.
work.
No, it still didn't work. So I'd get back into comic books. Oh, shit, I could be cool this year. I'm going to get rid of my comics again, my action figures. But eventually, as I got older and realized that high school bullshit didn't matter, I just grabbed my shit and ran with it.
Absolutely.
So, I think I've always been into superheroes, and I don't remember a time in my life when I didn't have something.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I grew up with the reruns of the '66 show and Adventures of Super Friends, and I look at Super Friends today and I'm like, this entire cartoon, 90% of it is Darkseid stalking Wonder Woman
over and over.
I mean, he constantly wants to get into the Wonder Pants. It's like,
who did?
God. Yeah, that's true.
You can go back and watch Linda Carter. Who doesn't want to do that?
That's very true.
I don't.
I love that. I love that cameo she did in that movie. I think
Sky High.
the cameo in Sky.
That's one of our
She's
favorite
like-
movies in my
she's
family.
like, what do you think I am? I'm not Wonder Woman, you know? It's just absolutely hilarious. What were you reading as a kid, Eric? Like, outside of your first issue of Web of Spider-Man 81, like, what kind of... Did you just read the superhero stuff, or did you explore with anything else?
It was mostly superhero stuff, but when I was a kid, I was a Marvel kid. I didn't dive into DC unless it was like a Justice League issue. And it was just X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, and just anything I can get a hold of. Because, buying comics when you're a kid is a pain in the ass. And especially if your parents don't want to buy them for you. You got to save up money. And you don't have money as a kid. You go through yard sales and try to get something for 25 cents.
Yep, exactly.
And then it's just a random issue and you have no idea what's going on.
Yep, and then they have all the solicits and adverts inside the issue, and it's like, oh hey, I can go catch up.
No, it never happens.
No, not really.
But then eventually, after I got one of my favorite books of all time is Elf Quest, which I got as a kid. My mother got it's one of those mail away orders where you get just a cardboard box full of random comics, and I came across the Marvel reprints of Elf Quest #2. And I fell in love with that and got everything I could get my hands on. And that's still one of my favorite books today.
All right. So, is it strictly, or does it vary? I'm going to ask the age-old question. I think I know what the answer is going to be for you guys nowadays. And I know, Eric, you just kind of answered the question as far as when you were a kid, but Marvel or DC, and why? Jim?
Well, it's weird because I go DC, but I actually enjoy fun comics, and that seems to be along the lines of Marvel. But yet, I don't know, Marvel always seemed to be a lot of nonsense. I know people are going to get mad or pissed off, but I don't know. It's just always...
pain.
I like a combo of gritty and fun, which nowadays DC seems to not want to give, but I'm invested in DC. I really like DC. I like their heroes, but mainly also I like the villains. I think DC has a bigger and greater rogues gallery of villains, and that's just it. I like DC. I read a little bit of Marvel, but with all the books that we read and review, I really don't get a lot of chance to read something other than what we're doing. But every time I read Marvel, I don't know. I don't like the house style of art at Marvel either. So basically, it's DC.
Bare.
Yeah, I don't like bare backgrounds, which seem to be every time I pick up a Marvel book. That's what it seems to be. And the last Marvel book I did read was FF, and I like that a little, but it just got a little ridiculous.
The last one that I was, before Eric answers, the last one that I was... really invested in, because it was a huge, big change. It wasn't just going to be, this average kid who got bit by a radioactive spider going up against this green guy every single week, every single bank robbery, every single whatever. And when they did Superior Spider-Man, I'm like, yes, okay, this is cool. You're switching it up. You're giving it a new spin, and absolutely loved it. And then, lo and behold, here comes Sony. Hey, new movie.
Yep, the movie's coming out. We gotta go back.
Bye-bye. It's like, what about you, Eric?
I'm a DC guy now. And the thing is, like I said, I grew up reading Marvel, and the thing that really was the change in me that jumped to DC when Brad Meltzer's Identity Crisis came out. And I'm like, they're telling adult stories. Holy shit. This is good. And before that, I would pick up, like I said, the Justice League, and I read a lot of Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern. And with that Brad Meltzer Identity Crisis, this threw me over the top. It's like, I have to read everything DC now. And I really never looked back. I read Superior Spider-Man, which I really enjoyed, except for, I think it was the second issue. It was like you saw the ghost of Peter Parker. I'm like, oh, they're fucking it up already. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's DC is I want it to be fun. I love fun comic books, and pretty much I'll read a dark, gritty DC title, which Batgirl, it seems the entire run so far has been nothing but grim and darkness and bleak. And I'm like, this is going to be the issue where she's going to be fun and happy, and she's kind of getting there. And it's the same with Supergirl. She's angry all the time. She became a Red Lantern. But I was like, she's going to get back. She's going to be fun. And it just hasn't happened yet. But like the biggest changing point for me, though, in DC Universe is like when we started this site, Superboy, Khan, was going to infiltrate a high school to find out what was going on there. I'm like, yes, here we go. It's going to be like a Breakfast Club Superboy, and this is what I want to read. And that lasted, I think, 4 issues tops, and then it was over. I'm like, oh, well, fuck me. I guess I got to keep reviewing this now that I started. But it's DC all the way, though, man. I have to, because like Jim said, the characters are way better. You have a second or third tier villain and hero, and they are awesome. And then you look at the second or tier like villains or heroes of Marvel, and they're pathetic.
Yeah. I just want to say, Marvel fanboys, do not send hate mail to me.
We're in trouble. Luckily, we have no reason for them to even come to our website at all.
No, they're We're a DC site. What do you expect from us here?
Yeah.
Exactly. The Batgirl stuff, it was what got me kind of like after I read Death of the Family, and people have heard me say this before. I looked for characters that I like at DC.
Yeah.
And obviously, Batman's run with Snyder and Capullo is hit or miss for me.
How do you pronounce his name?
I guess
we don't know
Capullo.
either. I'm the worst.
Capullo, whatever.
I think that it's time actually for them to kind of step aside. It's starting to get a little old.
It's one of the. Well, I know they won't.
Oh, I know.
Until issue 50.
Yeah,
I remember that tweet that Greg sent out about Batman team's locked in through 50. So after I read Death of the Family, I'm like, okay, so I like Nightwing, I like Batgirl, I'll go back and I'll read, and I read Nightwing all out of order. I got Nightwing at issue 15, and I had to immediately go back and read the first 14 issues, and then everything else.
It was a fun title.
It was a really fun title. That was my favorite
title.
It was a really fun title, and then that damned dildo had to go ahead and get his wish and kill. Dude, I'm going to say it every time.
Yep,
I don't care.
It was like an Infinite Crisis. He wanted to kill off Nightwing instead of Superboy, and he finally got his wish. He bided his time, and now we have Secret Agent Dick instead of what we want.
Yeah, we have Secret Agent Fury is what we really... Let's face it. Come on now. They really wanted a Nick Fury.
I'm just happy that in the Future Zen Grayson, we didn't see him with an eye patch, okay?
Oh.
I'm so happy that didn't happen.
I stopped Grayson after issue 2. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
I just couldn't handle it anymore. I wanted Kyle to stay on the book. I wanted him to be able to do his his Chicago story, more of that was interesting to me. That was awesome.
Well, Chicago's the new Bloodhaven, apparently.
And they completely screwed him over.
Yeah, they screwed him over twice because originally he was going to get Amusement Mile.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they screwed him over with that, and it's like,
and then you got to get the trifecta in there with that because now they screwed him over with Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. Have you read any Cal?
Yes, I love Cal.
And I haven't checked it out yet.
And that was basically what he was going to end up doing, and then he just took it away and. I don't know. They really screwed him over. They completely messed it up. And I agree with you. Grayson is a complete mess. It's pretty awful.
I liked the writing in the first issue, and I liked the writing in the second issue. The art's fine as well.
Yeah, the art's okay.
It's just too weird for me to basically have Tim Seeley and Tom King basically tease issue 2, I was done because they basically cock teased us the whole issue with, Dick trying to ask about, how is the butler? How is this?
Yeah.
How is that? And it's like, seriously, you're gonna tease us like this and just. Oh God, no! No.
It also seems to be an attempt. I don't know. It seems to me a lot of Batman Incorporated stuff is going to be thrown in there, and it's Dick's a great character, and
really
they are just completely screwing over. I don't know what Dan DiDio's problem is.
They're bastardizing him.
Well, I don't know Dan DiDio. I don't know how you can hate Nightwing or Dick Grayson. He's, like I said to Eric, a lot of times his superpower is being a nice guy. That's
or
all
a
it is.
smart
He's a
ass,
nice
depending
guy,
on the day.
and
Or-
they just screw him over. So
Yep.
I don't understand.
They just keep
But
jerking that
yeah,
dick off.
yeah, it does. It does get me mad because he is my favorite superhero.
Yeah, absolutely. So, after Nightwing, I got into Batgirl, and I kind of like the dark and gritty. I like the fact that that wasn't just a superhero book; it was a superhero psychology book. And I actually know the girl, the lady that Gail asked about for the psychology advice.
Oh, really?
Dr. Andrea Letamendi of the Arkham Sessions podcast. She.
She have anything to do with the Psychology of Batman documentary?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I thought I recognized the name.
Dr. Andrea Letamendi, Gail approached her and asked her about, psychological stuff, dealing with, the Batgirl universe and everything else. And they actually worked her into the book as Barbara's psychologist. Yeah. She's in issue 16 and one other one I don't remember off the top of my head.
Therapy sessions get expensive. You got to drop that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's true. I've been loving Batgirl. Yes, it is dark and gritty, but she brings a lot of humor to it. And you add in Alyssa, her roommate, she adds a lot of humor to it. So when they announced that it was like, okay, Gail Simone's gone, guys. She's just gone again. It didn't happen like it happened it didn't happen where she fired by like the last time, but it's like she's just gone. We're moving on. New creative team, new bright thing on the outskirts of Gotham and back. I'm going to give the thing at least 2 issues.
Well, I was bitching about the dark and gritty of it, but have you seen the prototype pictures for the new Batgirl?
Yes.
It enrages
me. That didn't sound good.
It's awful.
I actually asked, was it Brendan Fletcher or Cameron Stewart? I asked one of them a bunch of stuff recently on Twitter because I wanted to see if they were going to keep the monologues, and they're not doing that. I wanted to see if they were going to. No, they're not going to keep the black, yellow, and purple monologue thing. They're going to do a whole new thing apparently. But I had asked them a long time ago when this was first announced that, hey, how old is she supposed to be? Because she looks like she's 14 in Babs Tarr's art style. And she doesn't look like she should be because I thought from the start of her book to the end of issue 34, she was supposed to be somewhere between, throughout the entire time, somewhere between 21 and 27. And Cameron Stewart told me, nope, she's 21 in Gail's run, so that's what age she's going to be in our run.
She's only 21?
That seems odd.
That's what he said. Yeah, it seems odd to me, too. But the pictures, I kind of like the art style. I like that they're going with the purple and yellow suit because it's an homage to, obviously, 66. Yeah. But the boots are just weird. They just are. Like I said, I'm going to give it 2 issues, but if it doesn't impress me by then, I'm probably just going to drop it at that point because of the latest news of them basically causing an earthquake to Wayne Manor.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. If are you going to be reading Gotham Academy as well?
No, I don't know. I'm more interested in Arkham Manor than I am. I'm more interested in Arkham Manor than I am Gotham Academy. But what I was going to say was, with the recent news and the recent earthquake at Wayne Manor and the fact that our beloved DC Animated Universe comics are dying.
Yeah, they're going down.
I think the only title, like I said, if Batgirl doesn't impress me, the only title I'll have from DC at this point is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
That is such a good book.
Yeah, that's a good book.
That is one of my favorite books that DC is putting out right now. And it's weird, though, because, Dan Abnett's writing that, and he's also writing the Infinite Crisis digital title. And the Infinite Crisis digital title is awful, but yet He-Man is so strong. I don't get it.
Have you read any of the Infinite Crisis?
No.
It's awful.
You're not missing much.
It is so bad. It is just a grab for money.
Well, it's like the Injustice tie-in, the Injustice comic to lead into the video game. I thought video game tie-ins are the worst. I'm not going to read this. And Jim started reading it, and he got me into it because it's really well written. The artwork is great. And they're like, oh, shit, we already have another, a video game property. We'll do that, too. And it's so the worst.
Bad.
I read the first 12 of Injustice the first year.
Yeah.
Because here's what I thought, they were just doing a damn miniseries. I thought the whole point of it was, let's do a 5 or 6 issue miniseries to lead up to the release of the game and the events of the. And then no, it's 12 issues, and then no, hey, here's Injustice Year 2, here's Injustice Year 3, here's Injustice Year 4, and it's like
it became so good. I'm telling you, it's really good, and I'm glad they continued it, but I don't think that it was any sort of plan to make that as long going as it's been.
I think the last issue of Year 2, Jim gave it a 10 out of 10, and that's ridiculous.
It was good. It was so
I hate
good.
giving 10s out,
I
man.
may
If
have
I
even...
ever give a 10 out, it's like all comics after this will be ruined for me, so I refuse to give a 10 out. And Pop Man, the artist for He-Man, he's actually pissed at me because I haven't given any of his books 10 out of 10 yet.
I throw 10s out like it's candy. Like I'm at a parade throwing candy to everybody.
You know, I was very skeptical about Pop Mahan at first because
I gotta figure out how to say these people's names.
Yeah. I read an interview with him somewhere online when they first announced what when they first announced that they were going to bring Adora back.
Yeah.
Okay. This is in the first arc. This is in the first 6 issues. Mm-hmm. And they were asking him all kinds of questions about design and colors and what kind of input Mattel had, and basically that entire interview he was a yes man.
Really?
He basically said in that written interview that, well, Mattel gave me these designs and that's what I went with, and it's like they were asking him questions about like, okay, do you have a way to infuse your own style into me? So he's basically said, they gave me this, and I went and drew it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how much of a history he has with He-Man from what we've talked to him. But
yeah, I mean, I love his art. His art looks great.
Well, he studied under Jim Lee. He's got to be good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's.
He even puts things out on time.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Oh, he's even better than Jim Lee in my opinion at this point.
And the whole He-Man arc, the first arc I liked. I loved Giffen. I wish they had kept Giffen.
I wasn't a fan myself.
I like the humor in it because it felt like the 2002 cartoon series.
I love that. Yeah.
It was more humor. There was always constant banter back and forth with Adam and Adora. The fact that everybody knows the friggin' secret, I love that.
That's good, yeah.
That way it's not, what corner do I have to go hide behind to, pull out this giant sword and let the lightning flash before everybody's eyes. It's like, I'm so glad everybody knows the damn secret.
Mechanec's off in the corner. Man, there's a lot of lightning around here.
Yeah. What's going on?
I loved how they wrote Mechanec, though. I gotta say, even though I'm not that thrilled on the What Lies Within story arc, I still love how they wrote Mechanec.
Mechanec is one of my favorite characters in all Masters of the Universe history, and he's the lamest dude possible. I love him so much. He was my favorite. He was my favorite Masters of the Universe toy back in the '80s.
Absolutely. I wonder what because we know that they're ending at issue 20.
I did not know that.
They're ending at issue 20 and then starting the Eternity War.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't realize, I knew they're doing the Eternity War.
Because they're renumbering. Renumbering it. Like, I don't even, if you just want to add the title, if you just want to say, instead of saying He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, just say Masters of the Universe, Eternity War, number 21.
Yeah.
Instead of, I get it. It's one of those things where, we're a comic company. We need people to buy number ones. Number ones sell the most. And, I'm still on board. I'm loving the bloodline of the Blood of Grayskull storyline.
Oh, so good, man.
I absolutely loving that. What are there any outside of what you guys do for your website? Do you have time or money for any other comics from any other publishers?
Not anymore, man. Not anymore.
No. Yeah, I'm pretty broke.
I used to try, but
I also have 5 kids that kind of need attention sometimes, so it gets a little tough. I get a lot of flack while they're doing their homework and I'm reading comics and giggling to myself on the computer. And I usually get all my stuff digitally. But
I do too.
Yeah,
I love print copy, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Once I found Comixology, well, see, here's the, well with me with Comixology with me, and I think I've said this before on the podcast. I thought at first Comixology was device only, so I'm like, okay, then I guess I won't even do digital if I don't have a because I don't have an iDevice or Android or whatever else. And then I found out, oh wait, I can just sit here at my computer and just arrow through everything. I'm like, oh okay, this works. And then I found the guided view, and I was like, I'm done with print.
It's so good.
I have room to put stuff now.
Yeah, that's my thing. I started out all digital. I really haven't. I probably have 4 or 5 actual print comics that I've got.
I think the only ones I'm going to end up hanging on to are the 1 through 20, or the 1 through 16 of Batman Beyond Universe.
Yeah.
And issues 23, 24, and 26 of Batgirl, because those were the wanted issues. And I love Alex Gardner's covers on those.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They look like
so good.
paintings. They look like artwork you would see in a museum.
Yeah, those were the like Alex Gardner's one of the covers. It's one where Jim Gordon's behind her. I can't think of the number right now. She's taking off the mask. It is my save feature on my phone. Like, it's just
That's
there.
26.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I've been doing this podcast for about 2 years now. I've had Kyle Higgins on once.
Okay.
Once. I've been dying and dying to get Gail Simone on here, and it still hasn't happened. Yeah. And as much as I love DC, their interview process is interesting. I'll say that much on air. I won't say the rest of it, but
we know.
Yeah, we've tried to get a couple. We do a feature where it's just 5 questions each week,
which are never 5 questions,
and it's usually like 8 or 9 questions. But we started doing this, and we grabbed a couple guys off of Twitter. We got Cullen Bunn was today. We actually put that up.
Yeah, that just came out today.
We had Jeremy Hahn. Started off with Jimmy Palmiotti, but they're more goofy questions. But then we actually tried to get your hero Dan DiDio into doing it, which he agreed to do it, but we had to go through 10 people to get him to actually do it, and since then it's hit a roadblock. We haven't been able to do it. But yet he keeps messaging us on Twitter, hey, when am I going to get these questions? And
you tell us, man.
I'll send them right now. I'll give them to you right now. No, you have to go through this person, that person, and it's a disaster.
I really I think the only interview I've heard with him is I prefer to listen to interviews than I do to sit here and read them. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's a written interview on Comic Book Resources or wherever it is, that's fine if that's all there is. But I prefer to listen to them. The only interview I ever listened to DiDio with was Kevin Smith, Fat Man on Batman.
That was a great episode.
Only time I ever listened to Dan DiDio say anything other than the little bonus features on whatever DC DVD he does and whatever else, but you kill my favorite character. I don't care if his alter ego is still alive. You kill my favorite costume character. Forget you.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I can't. I have such a bad attention span that if anything written, it's awful. And if there's a long interview, I can't sit through and read it all. I just get so bored. But the thing that we did, like I said, it's just 5 questions. They're so goofy. There's not much really about comics. We had Ethan Van Sciver and asked him what he would do if he had Ethan Van Sciver's day off. What would that day include? And stupid stuff like that. Just a lot of 80s stuff. So it's pretty fun, but I can read it then. Yeah. Because I can't sit through anything more than... I can't watch a TV show that's more than a half hour. I'd lose...
You're the devil.
So I guess you're not going to watch Gotham.
Well, I am, because I'm supposed
to has to review it.
I'm worried. I'm telling you, it's bad. Not the show itself, though that looks bad, but...
No, the show actually looks pretty good.
You think so?
One of my best friends online had said, "Oh, it's just Smallville, except it's with Batman." It isn't, because Smallville was teen angst with superheroes. Gotham, the way I look at Gotham is they are basically making a television adaptation of Gotham Central.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
I
The more
wish it would be with Batman still there, though.
Yeah, I know, but they're trying to shed a light on a time that most of us or most general people don't know a lot about.
Yeah,
But we don't
right.
want to know a lot about it because there shouldn't be villains at that point of the same caliber as Batman.
Okay, I understand.
He's getting
that, but
pissed off.
I'm
Settle
saying,
down there.
I'm saying, Eric, that what I'm saying is the time period of immediately after the Waynes are killed.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of comics out there that have done that storyline, but like the everyday, the mainstream person doesn't know a lot about that, and I like it. Other reason,
I'm gonna check
I was
it
just
out.
gonna say I'm worried that we don't know about that because it's not that interesting, but I'm sure they'll do a good job. I hope, because I have to watch it and review it. So
yeah,
I'm hoping.
The other reason why I'm interested in it because it is the first time in 11 years since Ben McKenzie has been on Fox.
Yes.
He was on Fox 11 years ago with the OC.
Oh, God. My wife loved that show. And when I saw it was him, I was like, oh, my God, I thought the guy dropped off the face of the earth.
I think
he himself.
He had been on Southland on TNT for the longest time. I think the thing with Ben McKenzie is he's going to play a better Gordon than he did voicing Batman in whichever DC Universe movie that was.
That was a big part of the news when it came out that, he did Batman. No, I like him. I actually, I might have peaked a couple times at the OC. Maybe a little more than peaked, but I used to enjoy it. I thought he was good.
It's such a strange workaround because, at least for me, because you've got an old 1995 Sandra Bullock, 1995, 96, I think it was 94, Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman movie, While You Were Sleeping.
Yeah, While You Were Sleeping. Yeah.
Peter Gallagher was the guy who was sleeping.
Yes.
Then he ends up in the OC. Then he ends up on Covert Affairs on USA. Where else was he?
And I've never watched any of these.
Right. Well, and now he's going to be coming on to Law and Order Special Victims Unit, so it's like, it's just one of those kind of workaround things, and for me, I absolutely love it. Jim, you mentioned Cowl earlier. Are you reading that, Eric, or no?
No, I am not.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah,
it's only five.
good.
It's only 5 issues in, dude. You have to. It's amazing. It really is. It's let's face it, Marvel and DC. Okay, Marvel has the Max series where they can go kind of for adults and stuff. DC doesn't have a lot of that. In the 3rd issue, you see a guy with a gun down his pants and his dick gets blown off.
Oh, so it's Preacher-like.
Yeah, kind of. But if you're looking for a full-on, a comic for it, like I would never say to anybody, let kids read Cowl.
Yeah.
No, it's like a dark and gritty Batman 66 is really what it's like.
It's almost like
I'll eventually check it out. I don't know when I'll find the time to do it, but I'm sure I'll read it eventually. Jim talks about it all the time, and he only has good things to say.
Like it's only 5 issues in. It just started 5 months ago, and it's every issue pulls you in. It really, really does. Absolutely amazing.
And
now, when you read this, do you think of it as Nightwing?
No, because the Nightwing character that Kyle put in, the Nightwing archetype, Robin archetype character that Kyle had put into his short film, The League, is not in the book. It's not. I haven't seen. They mention the Sparrow, but they don't mention. They really haven't mentioned him at all. So I tried asking Kyle on Twitter, like, where does this take? Does this take place before or after the short film? You can get the short film on iTunes. It's 27 minutes. Okay, I know that's a little long for a short film, but it's a damn
almost out
good...
of Jim's attention span right there.
Yeah, really, almost. But I mean, I know he pushes it a lot at conventions.
Oh man,
I just heard that
awesome.
recently.
It really is awesome. The League. Oh man, it was so good. I mean, best $2, $3, $4.99 I ever spent on iTunes.
Nice.
Whatever it is. All right, so let's talk about DC and their digital properties. They want to have one digital property per day.
Yes, every day, one a day.
One a day.
And then there's Saturday, where Batman Beyond 2.0 is being canceled.
In favor of a damn manga.
Yep, Bat Manga. Which
is that the
I
Jawaka
actually
one?
read a couple issues, and I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed it as almost an alternative to Batman 66, which I've grown very tired of. So to have a Japanese version of it, like I said, like Batman 66, when that was going on, it was really fun at the beginning.
Oh, we're so
hyped. The
hyped.
same type of fun over and over and over, and I just got bored. So I pick up Bat Manga. Same thing. I enjoyed the freshness of it, and even though it's old, but just a different take, and I'm done with it.
Well, we all love Batman 66, but it's like sitting on a carousel for 4 goddamn days. You're going to get tired of it.
Yeah. For me, it's like, see, I thought this whole Bat Manga thing, I thought this was something that they hadn't launched. That's why I thought they were canceling Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Because I thought this thing was something they hadn't launched yet. To come to find out, they're like 5 or 6 issues. Like, seriously?
Lord
Yeah.
Deathman, come on. It was the first story arc. Who doesn't like Lord Deathman?
I think it's on the third arc.
I just, okay, so Batman Beyond. Let's start with Unlimited, because that's really where I kind of got in on the ground. I've briefly read the Return of the Joker one-shot copy that they did from the movie back in the days. I haven't read anything other than the Adam Beecham, Kyle Higgins run. I haven't read Hush Beyond. I haven't read any of that other stuff. I will eventually, but I jumped on Batman Beyond Unlimited, and I was like, okay, I like this. This is awesome. They basically, they're looking like the series looked. They're taking everything from the series and expanding on it. They pull a grandson of Chill out of nowhere, which is fine. It's fine. It's, whatever. They do the 10,000 Clowns and Joker King is Dana's brother, and that's all right. And then, hey, guess what? We're going to do, which I don't think Kyle's going to have time to even mention it anymore, but Adam had done the second half of his run was all about Undercloud and this mysterious new villain, and by the time that ended, it was just a troubled little girl.
Yep.
They introduced Batgirl Beyond, which I love that final issue. I love seeing old Barbara kick ass. I absolutely love that, and they kind of leave it off where, Gotham is always going to need a Batman, and we can use Undercloud to our advantage, and then we jump 1 year ahead. Yep. And Terry's in college, Kyle's on the book now.
So
we
good.
Get it. It really, really was. I remember when those first previews came out for those first couple of chapters. It's like, hey, why is Nightwing? Where's Batman and what the hell is going on? Like, they really suckered us in with that, and come to find out it was Rewire and doing all kinds of Rewire's this new villain, Davis Dusk. I love the first arc. I thought it was great. The second arc, I liked it a little bit more than I normally would like a Man-Bat arc, because in any other version, because Man-Bat kind of was essential in how, obviously, the DC Animated Universe started with BTAS and On Leather Wings. Yeah. So I didn't mind the Man-Bat arc.
I'm not a big fan. I really don't like Man-Bat, but I actually like that arc. I
didn't mind it so much. And then you get to the crossover.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the crossover.
So you were a fan, I hope, or you?
Yeah,
it was so good.
I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's weird because when I first started reading Batman Beyond, I really had no interest in Justice League Beyond.
I'm the same
way.
And
once that crossover happened, I went back, read all. It was so good, and I actually at one point may have even said that I liked Justice League Beyond a little more than Batman Beyond around that time of that arc.
Yeah, when the crossover was happening, I felt like the Justice League Beyond timeline was basically a dysfunctional soap opera.
Yeah.
It's basically a dysfunctional family between Superman and Wonder Woman and their son.
Yeah. Oh.
And I mean, I absolutely loved it. When they pulled out that Lord Batman Beyond suit, I was like, oh
so
God,
good.
hell yes. I still have a screen cap of that, image when that first came out. And, you know, I recently, because this will actually be going up this week, I recently had seen, recently on our Legends of the Dark Knight podcast, because we're about to wrap that up, we're reviewing all BTAS and all Batman Beyond episodes, and we just finished, we just finished recording, and I just finished editing the episode where it features the Call. And I remember when I was reading the crossover, and our Terry went down to the Bat Cave and looked for stuff and found that the cases split open and there's a hidden chamber. I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, wait, what? Where did that come from? And then I go back and I watch the Call. I'm like, oh yeah, the Kryptonite chamber. That's right. The crossover was super cool. I just wish we had more of it. Not necessarily the crossover. Like, I want more of, like, T's universe. Like, I wish that they would honestly just make a separate series with just T, that Dick Grayson.
Oh, I'd love
that in that universe.
In fact, when you thought Terry was killed,
was dead. Oh.
I actually, it devastated me. But
it killed me.
I actually thought that it would make a great idea for T to come back into the regular universe and start a life, trying to deal with Bruce. I actually thought it was happening. He had me completely fooled. I remember I went into work and said, I'm like, you can't believe this. It's so bad. But then and it kind of pissed me off the next week. Though I was happy he was back, but it was just such a cop-out of what had happened. But
I like again, yes, it is kind of a cop-out, but I did like the way that they went ahead.
Yeah. Oh, since then, that was great.
Yeah. And then we get to the Mark of the Phantasm, which is essentially Kyle's Return of the Joker.
Well, before that, what did you think when Justice League Beyond just ended? All of a sudden, after that, it was over. The Justice League Beyond, they had Zod and Wonder Woman and Superman are just done.
Yeah, it just. I mean, I actually asked Christos Gage on Twitter about that, and he said that he's on a TV show now.
Yeah, that's what he told us.
Show, so, I mean, I don't understand why, if you're going to write something as epic as that crossover was, as cool as that crossover was, to bring readers in and then immediately cancel the book, and then what, 6 months later, canceling this now?
And the thing that gets me so irritated with DC itself, not just, the digital titles to me, probably three of my top 5 books are digital titles right now. And DC treats them so poorly. You don't know what's coming out. You don't know what's ending. You don't know what's starting. You never know. And it drives me insane.
I still have. And maybe I need to email Comixology and say, hey, look, this has been over for months now.
Still have a subscription.
I still have a subscription to Beware the Batman.
Yeah.
And it's like, it ended. But see, Comixology is so good. Like, I'm a huge, right now, I'm so big into IDW. Yeah. I love IDW publishing. Turtles, Transformers.
It's everything 80s.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love that title.
Oh, my God. Absolutely love that company. They just released a 4-issue miniseries, Turtles in Time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once issue number 4 came out, I got an email. This series has ended and it has gone into my discontinued part of my Comixology account. I still have not got that with.
It's still hanging there.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with Justice League Beyond, I read the issue. It ended, and I messaged Eric and said, I actually think it's canceled. I went online, saw nothing about it. The only thing I could find was that at one point Christos Gage and Kyle Higgins in an interview said that Batman Beyond 2.0 was eventually going to go weekly, but never really said anything. So I said, I'm going to ask Christos Gage, and messaged him, said, what's going on? It seemed like an ending. It seemed like it was over. And he said, oh, yeah, it's canceled. I look, so I threw up a news story on our site, just said I think that it's canceled. And to this day, every Saturday, we get a couple hits on that news story from people looking up we get what the hell happened to Justice. I don't know that DC themselves actually officially announced anything about it. It just got ended.
And I mean, Batman Beyond, they announced that, Kyle said that it's ending for now, but they've pretty much left it up in the air. If anyone ever goes back to that book and it's not Kyle Higgins and Tony Silas, I probably won't read it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, because I say a lot of times with these, like Christos Gage left Justice League Beyond. Why couldn't they get anybody else? Like you said, he's leaving to do a TV show. Why not get another writer? And I don't know, the problem also with the digital itself, they never released the digital sales numbers. They released the print numbers, not the digital sales numbers, so I don't know how well it sold.
And you got to think about this, though. Okay, sure, the digital sales, 99 cents per chapter, that's not a lot of money per chapter.
No.
But it adds up, and you got to think about this as well. Comixology doesn't offer discounts.
No,
I mean they will take like a book like, let's say for sheer shits and giggles here. This coming Wednesday, September 24th, or this Wednesday, right now, today, September 24th, 2014, Nightwing number 31. Kyle Higgins is back. Yeah. Everybody's back, and the series is back on. Grayson never happened. It's $3.99 or $2.99 or whatever else. 2 weeks later, Comixology will discount it to $1.99, but they don't have, the digital stuff doesn't have, it goes by cover. The only one, and I probably shouldn't mention this because Comixology might be listening to this. They might be, but the only thing is I noticed that with Cowl, it's $2.99 on Comixology. When I was buying the print issues, it was $3.50.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Comixology knows about that. If they do, I didn't say shit.
You want to get more ridiculous?
There we go.
You want to read Batmanga? That's $1.99 per digital issue.
The new one?
Oh yeah, $1.99 an issue.
Is it like double?
No.
Instead of being 23 pages, is it like 47?
No. Well, they also did. Have you ever bought Batman 66?
Not digitally.
Well,
no.
digitally, because it's the motion comic, that's also $1.99. And what they do is list the pages. So each time the digital motion comic kicks in, it's a page count. So the page count is like 140.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
But it's ridiculous. And the Batmanga, they have a title that's such a niche title that nobody is reading. I don't care what they say. Nobody is reading that title, and they charge $1.99 a digital issue. And it's just, it's beyond me what they're thinking. I don't know. And like, we're back to the whole thing about if Batmanga is their idea of every once a day, that's their Saturday comic, then they're ridiculous. Which I think they are ridiculous. But
I asked Kyle Higgins on Twitter, I said, just to clarify, that your run takes place at the end of Return of the Joker and right before Epilogue. And he said yes.
Okay. I was going to ask you about Epilogue.
There is so much that they could do still.
Yep.
Between that.
Well, it's obvious.
It's like 5 more years in between
and
that.
He did the Mark of the Phantasm, which was great. It was so good.
There wasn't enough Phantasm.
No, there was no Phantasm. Actually, it's really ridiculous, the title, but I love the arc. But if this was a plan for them to end that comic, I really do think it would have ended after that. What they're doing now, I like every issue that he has done, I love. But this arc now, there's just, like you said, there's so much that can be done, so it seems like you would want him to tie up a lot, and I think it's just going to stop dead cold. It's just going to
see, I don't, well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could, okay, after Mark of the Phantasm, we're now in this all-in arc. Who knows how that's going to end? So that arc is 5 issues.
Yep.
So that's 32, 3, 4, 5, 36. You still have 37, 38, 39, 40. So you still have 4 issues. I don't know how Kyle is going to end the run, how he's going to do it, but if, you could still get this digital title to chapter 50.
Oh, yeah.
And at chapter 50, it could be like the day before the night that Terry goes
He's
to
so great.
Amanda Waller.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really could.
I mean, if he wants to do another cop-out, they'll jump ahead in time to that last issue, and I will hate it. But I'll love it, too. So.
That's the good thing about the DC Animated Universe book, is that it follows the DC Animated Universe timeline, so there were no weird jumps. I mean, unless you're going to jump over to the JL timeline. It's like, there is no weird, hey, let's skip 5 years into the future and see how everybody's doing then.
I just don't know if they're going to, I don't know. I don't think Kyle would do that. But
no, I don't think he would either, because he has such a love for the DCAU
he does.
in general.
He loves it. And you can tell each issue, you can tell that he just loves it. And he gets it. He's so good. But
yeah. Have you read the solicits for issue 16?
No.
Do you want me to read it or no?
Read it.
All right, so this is the final issue, on sale November 26th. This final print issue. After spending more time with his father in the Justice Lord's timeline, which I think is completely psychologically...
He's insane. I said it in my review. He's insane. What is he doing?
Yes. Terry returns to his own world to discover that a member of the Bat family has been kidnapped. Dun dun dun. But is it too late? Did Terry's need to escape his own reality seal the fate of those closest to him? The cover is really as much as I love the Lord Batman Beyond costume, I really don't think they should have added the wings to our universe costume, but I understand why they did it. But I mean, his I'm trying to pull up a better image of it here. But the comic cover for this actually has, where's Bat Beyond? 13 to 16. It actually has almost everybody on it. It actually shows you Bruce and Dick and Barbara inside Terry's wings.
Okay.
It shows you. I'll send it to you guys.
Nice.
It shows Bruce and Dick and Barbara inside Terry's wings, and then it shows Ink, Rewire, Ghoul, and 10 on the cover, and it looks like the city is kind of falling. It is a really cool cover. I hope that Terry does. I hope that Kyle does end the book on a fairly, not necessarily the end like they did with Justice League, but like something where it leaves him open to come back. Because I know he has said in interviews that his Mark of the Phantasm is what he pitched to DC in the first place.
Pitch. That was the original pitch.
Now, go ahead.
I was just, do you think that he's just leaving DC?
No.
Just leaving now?
No, because with this whole one release per day, I think they're going to cancel it. I think they're going to cancel it in favor of the manga, and I haven't read the manga. I have like I said at the beginning of this episode, I have zero faith in DC at this point. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's just I don't think I think he's going to leave it open, but I don't think they're going to leave it open so someone else can come in and write something new.
You think they're going to wait for him? So do you think he's leaving because he needs time? Do you think he's pissed? I think he's pissed off. I think that what they did to him with Nightwing and all this, and he already had this set up, even though it does seem pretty sudden that it's ending. But I don't know. I have a bad feeling that he's bailing on DC. I don't know. I get this idea that he's jumping ship.
He is coming up, and I think those issues were already produced. That they haven't been released yet, but he is coming up on Eternal.
On Eternal, he has. But I'm saying everything seems to already be done.
Yeah,
he's doing nothing new with him, and he's my favorite writer at DC, and he has nothing.
And Gale.
Yeah,
I mean, Him and Gale are my two favorite DC writers.
I have a weird thing with Gale because when we first started the site, being new to comics, I actually, if you would go back and look at our site, one of the first things that we put up, I was new to comics, and all I heard was how great Gail Simone was. I had never read anything of hers, and I actually put a post that I think it was titled, "Why Does Everybody Love Gail Simone?" And it was almost a thing where I was going to go and read a lot of old Gail Simone comics and review them to figure out why nobody said anything bad about this woman. And I never went and read any. But Eric does Batgirl. I've read a couple Batgirls with crossovers, and I really like them. So I'm not bad-mouthing.
Wonder Woman sensational comics one.
Yeah, and I like that. That's another digital title that I actually enjoy. That I don't know if you've picked that up at all. The Sensation Comics. Haven't. It's okay. One of my favorites.
I picked up issue 1 of her Tomb Raider arc over at Dark Horse, but I haven't been able to
reviews of that.
I haven't been able to read more of it after issue 1.
And I guess she does Red Sonja.
Yep.
A couple others, but
we got Secret 6 with her coming out sometime.
Yeah, Secret 6 is coming out. Yeah, it's coming up soon. So, but yeah, I haven't really read a lot of Gail Simone, but like you said, another thing that always stuck in my craw was the notion that I always hear, and you've even said it tonight, that Keith Giffen he's like anything he touches turns humorous, and it's hilarious. And I do agree. I do like his stuff, but I think it's overrated. I think that he's overrated as being hilarious. That we said.
I mean, I've only read his Masters stuff, so I mean, I haven't read anything else by him. When I was saying that earlier, was that it was such a change for me going from him and what I mean, those 6 issues, there are points in those first 6 issues that I actually laugh out loud.
Yeah, you laughed out loud, see?
And then you go to Dan Abnett, where the only thing to that point that I had read by Abnett was, I think he did Punisher Year 1 or something, or I don't know. He did some Punisher book a long time ago. And with him, it's one of those things where he has the characters talking like old-timey talk.
He does Infinite Crisis. He does Infinite Crisis, and he probably does the worst Batman that I've ever read in my life. And I don't know if that he's just the go-to guy, like, oh, we have this thing to do here, Dan, do that. And he just, here's how you go. And I'm telling you, the one issue, Batman talks old-time English. And it drove me nuts. And the other character, they have Arcane Green Lantern in that, which he does speak, and I think he got it mixed up. And it's so awful.
That's probably
the
same letter's fault.
It's the inker's problem. I don't know. Who knows what's going on? But I actually think he agrees. The guy never said no in his life. He does probably 20 comics right now, it seems. Everything. He
don't talk to us, so he says no to us.
Yeah, he does say no to us when we try to talk to him, but that's beside the point. But again, like you said that, but Keith Giffen, his humor seems to be like his brand of humor is in the credits. He has guy who's supposed to write stories, Keith Giffen, and I can see him laughing as he's writing that. And it just I don't know. It doesn't seem that funny to me.
Yeah. All right. What else? All right, what are you guys, Eric, what are you looking forward to coming up from DC?
I'm really interested in this Godhead from the Green Lantern series. It's a big crossover event going on. I've never been a fan of the Third Earth, like the Kirby stuff with the New Gods. It's like I remember reading it as a kid, and it just confused the hell out of me. It put me off the rest of my life. But with them coming in, like every Lantern book is like now going to be a part of this. I'm sick of Green Lantern crossovers, but this one I think is going to be special for some reason. I don't know. I just have high hopes for it. And Earth 2 is my favorite book that DC puts out. And we have, World's Finest is going away from getting Power Girl naked and going to the Earth 2, Batman and Superman, like prior to their death in the first issue. Spoilers. And it's going towards that, like it's a prequel story. And then we have the weekly Earth 2 World's End coming out, which I'm really interested in. I just love all the like Golden Age heroes reinvented.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? What are you looking forward to coming up from DC?
Well, I am looking forward to Lobo coming out with mainly because it's Cullen Bunn. I'm not a huge fan of Lobo, but Cullen Bunn's so good. I think that he's going to do it.
I'm still not
Really
sold on
good.
this new Lobo.
As long as he writes it as if Brad Garrett was speaking it, that's fine with
Yes,
me.
that's good. And I'm telling you, Cullen Bunn is so good. And we actually had him on an interview type thing, and I asked him if he thinks he might be getting typecast as the villain guy or the anti-hero guy, and he doesn't care. But I think he's going to do a really good job with it. I love the idea of the character of Catwoman. And I've reviewed Catwoman for so long, and it's awful. It is so bad. And finally, Ann Nocenti is off, and there is a new team on that starting in October. And actually, I'm looking forward to October for most titles because of this so-called event that we're in the middle of. After that, it seems like everything's going to pick up again and start new arcs and get new books and new creative teams. So just actually getting done this Future's End is what I'm looking forward to because, like you said at the beginning, I think it's awful. I think it's hardly an event. The books that are out, you haven't read them, you're lucky because most of them have nothing to do with the Future's End idea. It's just, hey, you're 5 years ahead. Some of them don't even go 5 years ahead. Birds of Prey happens 3 years ahead, and it makes no sense. It doesn't match up with other books. Some of these
Batgirl in total was 7 years ahead.
Yeah, and Batgirl was great, but Batgirl, Bane Batgirl,
that was fine.
Bane Batgirl though shows up in Birds of Prey 3 years ahead. It makes no sense. The timelines all get screwed up. It's just to throw her in there. And again, Birds of Prey was canceled. This was the last issue. That was an awful run as well. And I want to get done with this Future's End. I don't want these 3D covers. I think it is all a bunch of nonsense. And I hate that they're pigeonholing themselves that every September we need this event, and they're getting worse and worse. It's ridiculous. They're getting worse and worse each year, and they just do it just to do it, and they make these 3D covers for no reason. I think almost every 3D cover this year was awful. Just
Constantine was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Constantine cover was pretty good, but just
Batgirl was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that one
I
too.
just don't like the borders of them. I think they look awful. I just don't like them. And then you get like a book like the Multiversity of Grant Morrison that had 4 covers that were awesome. And I don't know. It just this whole event is driving me nuts. Plus, I guess this week is ending the Doom storyline and Superman. I don't know if you've been reading that.
No.
Lucky. It's bad. It's not good. I just want to get all this, wipe it clean, start up. You said that Arkham Manor's coming out.
Arkham Manor's coming out. I'm interested in that more so than Gotham Academy because putting Arkham Asylum in Wayne Manor, that is the best idea ever.
It's a crazy idea to me. I just want to read it to see how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I'm a 45-year-old guy, and I can't wait to read Gotham Academy. Every time I look at it, I giggle. I think it looks great. I can't wait. So I'm looking forward to that. Though when it first was announced, I actually thought it was going to be a digital title, the way it looked. But it's not. And I want to see what they try to fix into these digital titles once,
Well, it is going to be on digital, but it's not a specific digital
No,
first.
I thought it was a digital first. The way it looked at first, I thought, oh, this has to be. And like I said, I'm holding out hope that Batmanga isn't the Saturday comic. And I know. And also, Infinite Crisis is Sunday. And I'm telling you, that will not last. It can't. It's awful. It's 19 issues in. I just read and reviewed issue 19 today. And they're probably 2 steps from the story of where it started. And all it is let's introduce these, other Earth characters because they're in the video game. And it's awful. But I'm praying that's done and we get something. I don't know. I'd love Justice League Beyond to come back or something new. I don't know.
I'm still curious if this is going, we have Infinite Crisis. Is this going on in the main continuity of the New 52? Like,
No,
we're dealing with all these other...
it's not anything to do with...
You have Grant Morrison doing Multiversity. It's like Doc Fate. Spoilers ahead. Doc Fate from this new issue of Multiversity was the main feature of the issue. And then Doc Fate in Infinite Crisis tonight was murdered. So...
Yeah, murdered. But Infinite Crisis, it's a video game tie-in. It has nothing to do with anything but that video game. And
I will say, out of the anniversary, or out of the September events that they've done to this point, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Teen Titans, only because I cannot stand Teen Titans in general. Mm-hmm. I hated the old cartoon. Anyone that says the Teen Titans 2004 cartoon is in continuity with the rest of the DC Animated Universe, you're fucking nuts.
It's out.
Nuts. It's completely out. But Batgirl, Nightwing, and Teen Titans #0, because that was Tim Drake's story. I love those three. That's it from Zero Month.
Yep.
Ventriloquist from Villains Month is the only one that I read all of the Villains Month for Batman, and Ventriloquist was the only one that I really, really loved. And at this point, Batgirl for Future's End, I have no idea. I don't even want to try to speculate onto what they're going to do next year. But September, it's like September 1st or whatever the first Wednesday is in September. Okay, September, we can just kind of ignore DC until October.
Yeah. The Villains Month, I love the Arcane Swamp Thing issue. I thought it was great. And actually, I liked the Firstborn Wonder Woman. But all in all, I actually liked Villains Month. I was not that against it. I really liked the Zero issues. I thought that was a good idea. But now this Future's End, I really think that it was just thrown together.
I love the Zero issues then, but Villains Month, I started out hating it because I think I'm just lazy and it seemed like a lot of work. We had just started really getting serious with the site. And
we had a lot to review.
But stepping back and looking at it now, I, for the most part, enjoyed it, except for them, we're getting retold stories about villains we already know, like the origins, or they're changing them slightly. Like, I can't stand the new Mr. Freeze. What's he doing walking around with, like, a sleeveless suit? It bothers me.
It's ridiculous.
And, but I like Black Adam. They brought Black Adam back for Villains Month. It was like he just got done being killed by Shazam. And then, like, a month later, we had his Black Adam Villains Month where he was resurrected. I'm like, that was fast shit. But besides for that, I like that and Killer Croc and Penguin, I think, were my favorites.
Yeah. All right, so why don't you inform the people where they can get a hold of you guys?
Jim,
Eric, you can do that. You can do that, Eric.
Oh, okay. Well, it's Weird Science DC Comics blogspot.com, or if you like to, be lazy like I am, and just type DC Comics Weird Science into your Google or whatever you use. That is the easiest way to find us. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Science DC. Same with Facebook. I don't even know how many accounts we have on different things now, trying to get our word out.
Yes.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Pullbag Origins. I have no idea what's coming up next. I honestly don't. I'm thinking it's going to be... Dun, 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 dun. No, it's not going to be Jaws. It's going to be... I think it's going to be Adas, Baron, and I in episode 87 of the Pullbag, where we talk about DCU versus Motu, issues 1 through 6.
DC!
That's nice.
Oh, Lord. All right, make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
All right, see you later.
Keep an eye on the scope. Watch for suspicious vessels.
I'm watching, Batman. It looks like we've got the whole ocean to ourselves. Diving planes, Mr. Bluebeard. Hoist a 3 degrees. Huh?
Yo ho, hoist 3 degrees.
I certainly hope you know what you're doing, Penguin.
Mr. Riddler, I ignore your insipid insinuations. Huh? Mr. Joker, you're leading on the current control.
Don't sound so bossy, if you please.
My dear sir, as the poet says, on land you may command, at sea it is me. Now hear this, now hear this. This is your captain speaking. My fine pinioned pirates, we're approaching the tricky buoy. Sharpen your cutlasses. There may be skullduggery ahead.
I've carefully studied every Justice Leaguer, past and present, and created contingency plans to neutralize you, should that ever become necessary.
You've got to be kidding me.
Neutralize, not kill. Whoever implemented my plans altered them.
It's still a completely unacceptable breach of our trust.
The members of the Justice League are among the most powerful and potentially dangerous people on the planet.
You think one of us would go over to the other side?
Or succumb to mind control? Yes, it's possible. That's why I developed plans for containing any or all members of the JLA, should the need ever arise.
None of us would ever do that to you.
Then you're damn fools.
What? You should be sidewalk stroganoff!
I changed the menu.
Now, I love s'mores as much as the next guy, but I'm fresh out of marshmallows. What do you say we call it a night?
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullback, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.